Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to walk you through driving business automation across an organization. And it'll come from over my 35 years experience, how I've seen automation transform organizations for the last 35 years. Here's my agenda. There's a brief bio about myself. I'm a CPA, so I've been heavily involved with aligning a business process change with the right technology and the right business case. This gives you an idea where we've come from. So in 2000, we didn't really have, prior to 2000, the internet and broadband were not the strongest at that time. So you had a lot of limitations of what you could do in terms of file uploads and file management, right? Especially with wide area networks. And that's why you're seeing where certain processes that were still manual, we were able to do some uploads, like on the procurement side, that we were able to upload those into a system. But it took a lot of specialized programming to do that kind of work. So it's something to bear in mind that there was some intervention in programming that was required to do some of this process. And overall, the stronger the internet connection became, the stronger more options it allowed businesses to look at how to best leverage some automation. This kind of gives you an idea of one extension of business automation is the Internet of Things, and that's really dealing with connected devices. And when we start talking with the grid, the power grids, utility companies, we're talking water treatment. A lot of these facilities are remotely managed, and you need to have alert systems and different things to integrate that data to a laptop, a cell phone, or an iPad. And this just gives you some ideas of where they're looking in terms of things like energy monitoring, real-time inventory management. That's really getting into tracking the whole aspect of the inventory from start to finish. And this gives you an idea how far we've come in the last 20 years. This looks at some key areas of automation in terms of things. Most of the companies I've worked for over the last 20 years, the onboarding process for customers, for employees, and vendors has become a lot more streamlined through the usage of intranet and extranet sites. Invoice processing has become very, very more automated. You can really generate automatic invoices depending on your revenue recognition options. HR, this gives you all your training programs are online, and this gives you other examples that you see as well. Now, process changes themselves, if you look at here, I like to bucket them into order to cash, purchase to pay, um, production and operations management, payroll. Um, and I like the reason I do it that way because there's specific processes that go into doing that on the order to cash. We're really talking about the revenue recognition principles in terms of invoice billing and the cash collection cycle. And purchase to pay, it's really talking about your procurement cycle from the point of time you order a good to you pay it at the end. And HR as well. So it's really looking at how you revamp these processes as part of looking at automation. This gives you an idea of adoption rates in terms of where we're seeing things. More and more organizations have adopted some form of business process changes, and that even comes when you start looking like a NetSuite or a Sage accounting system. They've already have a lot of automation in those. Like you can link up to your bank account, you can do things with your inventory and produce financial statements in real time. So there's a lot more involved now with the way information is flow and some of the processes. Why do business processes change? Well, in a nutshell, a lot of cases they fail because basically I say you have a wrong plan, you can have the wrong technology, and mostly the key is change management. Because at the end of the day with change management, employees have a sense of are they being replaced and they're going to have a role, so it's critical to do that. And it's, at the end of the day, the automation has to have some sort of metrics and value added. So when you made that initial commitment to a business process change, what was the metrics you're gauging against? And then how have you proceeded with that through health checks and everything on evaluating it since you implemented it? This gives you an idea that the role that humans play in any sort of adoption, and I've always done that throughout my career. There's always a human component to it. We can automate a lot of different things through chatbots and agents, but the issue at the end of the day, the more complexity of an issue, the more that you need human interaction. So we need to understand where the low-hanging fruit is and where it's best to automate. This gives you an idea of how automation works by properly defined plans. It's also talking about repetitive learning more and more about it. And then the overall is critical is selecting the right technology along with having the right change management. This gives you an idea of where we're having 26 and beyond. Artificial intelligence isn't anything new. What's happening is we're just able to work with more different types of data through data modernization, whether it's structured or unstructured. We're looking at the role that regional locations play as part of managing results and doing that. That's where OLAP and business analytical tools come in. Sustainability, as much as everybody talks about, isn't going away. Companies realize they have a role, a fiduciary role, and that role is viewed by consumers as well. So this kind of gives you an idea of where automation is heading. I've written a lot of blogs of automation because I've experienced it firsthand. I did some work on procurement cards in the past. I've done some work on order to cash, on locations reconciliations. I've done work with rolling out business analytical projects to business units and divisions across geographies. So you name it, I've touched it. I'm heavily involved because I always look at automation, but why does it make sense to do the automation and what does it align? And you're seeing more and more commitments. Walmart's listed here. They've made significant investments in automation to better manage their stuff. Because when you start dealing with margins and tariff threats and other costs, you're going to look at ways to get more efficiency and drive the best results, which is sales growth and improve your overall operating margins and net earnings. This is my contact information. You can reach out to me at any given time. As I said, I've done significant amount of these business process changes over my career.